Chapter 14, Food Safety Regulation and Standards. As a food protection manager, it's important that you understand the government agencies responsible for preventing foodborne illness. Government agencies include the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, United States Public Health Service, PHS, and there's also state and local regulatory authorities. The Food and Drug Administration inspects all food except meat, poultry, and eggs. The agency also regulates food that's transported across state lines. In addition, the FDA provides the FDA Model Food Code, which is recommendations for food safety regulations. The USDA regulates meat, poultry, and eggs. They also regulate food that transports across state lines. The CDC and Public Health Service are involved in the investigation and understanding of foodborne illness and outbreaks and determine prevention strategies. More than likely, you'll be dealing with a local regulator, like a city or county authority. But if you're in a rural area, a state authority will regulate your facility. The FDA Food Code, or sometimes called the Model Food Code, outlines federal recommendations for food safety. It is created for city, county, state, and tribal agencies. Although the FDA recommends the adoption by each state, it cannot require it. A big part of your job is to keep food safe, so you must understand the rules and regulations that impact food safety. The ServSafe program is based on the FDA Food Code, science, and best practices of the industry. Health inspectors are generally trained in food safety, sanitation, and other public health principles. State and local regulators write or adopt food codes, and then regulate retail and food service operations. Food codes differ widely by state or locality. In large cities, the regulatory authority will probably be responsible for enforcing requirements. In smaller cities or rural areas, a county or state regulatory authority may be responsible for enforcement. State and local health inspectors conduct food service inspections in most states. The most important reason for a regulatory inspection is that failure to ensure food safety can risk the health of your customer. A lack of food safety could even cost you your business. Basically, an inspection evaluates whether your operation is meeting a minimum food safety standard. It also produces a written report that notes deficiencies. The report helps an operation comply with safe food practices. Regulatory authorities have begun taking more risk-based approach when conducting inspections. They often use the 5 risk factors for foodborne illness and the FDA's public health intervention guides. Food service inspections are required for all operations. Lets an operation know if it's meeting minimum food safety standards. And they're often based on the 5 CDC risk factors and FDA public health prevention measures. The FDA recommends that regulatory authorities use the following 3 risk designations when evaluating establishments: priority items, priority foundation items, and core items. Looking in the slide, you can see that priority items include things that prevent, eliminate, or reduce hazards. Priority foundation items support my priority items, such as hand washing. And core items are things like general sanitation, facility maintenance, and equipment design. Do not refuse entry to an inspector. Inspectors have authority to gain access to the operation. They also have authority to revoke the operation's permit for refusing entry. Answer all inspectors' questions as well as you can. Tell your staff to do the same. Go with the inspector during the inspection. You will be able to answer any question and possibly correct problems immediately. Tell the inspector when something can be fixed if it cannot be fixed immediately. As you walk with the inspector, make note of any problems pointed out. This will help you remember exactly what was said. Make it clear that you are willing to fix any problems. If you believe the inspector is incorrect about something, note what was mentioned, then contact the regulatory authority. Keep the relationship professional. Be polite and friendly, and treat the inspector with respect. Be careful about offering food, drink, or anything else that could be perceived as trying to influence the inspection report. You might ask the inspector why he or she is requesting certain records. If a request seems inappropriate, check with the inspector's supervisor. You can also check with your lawyer about limits on confidential information. You must make corrections within the time frame given by the inspector. After careful review, an inspector might determine an operation poses an imminent health hazard to the public. In some states, he or she may ask for a voluntary closure or issue an immediate suspension of the permit to operate. If an operation receives a suspension, it must cease operations right away. However, the owner can request a hearing if he or she believes the suspension is unjustified. The suspension order may be posted at a public entrance to the operation. This is not required if the operation closes voluntarily. Regulations vary among different authorities. To reinstate a permit to operate, the operation must eliminate the hazard causing the suspension. Then it needs to pass a reinspection and receive written approval to reopen. Self-inspections. Self-inspections provide safer food, improved food quality, a cleaner environment for staff and customers. Self-inspections provide higher inspection scores. When conducting a self-inspection, use the same type of checklist that the regulatory authority uses. Identify all risks to food safety. After the inspection, meet with staff to review the problems and potential solutions.